Pam Bondi. MAGA, leave Pam Bondi alone. Dear MAGA, leave Pam Bondi alone. She's not the one that you need to worry about. Let's put our emotions aside. Let's put tribalism aside. And let's look at this logically. Do you remember the lab leak situation? Right? Now, I'm not going to get into the reasons why you were easier to convince with that theory versus other theories. But I'm with you. I believe it did leak from a lab. Right? And I believe that based on the evidence. Everything kept lining up with the lab leak. Right? We kept getting more and more information. I mean, the outbreak starts close to the lab that actually does, right? Now, I use that same logic that you guys use with lab leak and that I use with lab leak. I use it consistently, and I'm using it here. And what's happening here? All the evidence is pointing in one direction, and it's not at Pam Bondi. Now, let's be logical, right? Who's been really pushing about we have to expose Epstein, right? Who's the one who has been talking about this the most? It's people like Pam Bondi and Kash Patel, right? And Bongino. Trump has always been on the wrong side of the Epstein situation. He was good friends with Epstein for a decade. And the main defense that people who defend Trump can come up with, they all say the same exact thing, which is the most idiotic statement, because it's like, again, the lab leak. Like, for you to just dismiss lab leak, you have to dismiss this and that and that and that and that and that, and just hang on to one little thing. But, right? Whatever it was. Oh, I forgot. I don't remember the details, but there was some detail why they thought it was natural origin because of something about the virus, something signature or whatever, right? Like, imagine, like, that's it. So you have all this evidence, you just completely ignore it, right? Because you have this one piece of evidence, natural origin. Oh, but what about the lab was there and this was there? Da, 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 da. You don't want to talk about that. You just want to say that one piece of evidence. That is what I see happening with this whole situation, right? What do they say? They say, oh, Trump kicked him out of the club. Of course he did. And that's the whole thing. Like, that's not even strong evidence of anything, right? If Trump is actually guilty, if he's on the list, why would he not kick this guy out of his club? Just use your brain and think logically for a second. So this guy is going, and notice how, and that's the other thing you have to notice, right? Who is covering up for Epstein and who is telling you the raw truth? Even the people who talk about this, like on the right, the conservatives, like when they talk about like, oh, Trump kicked him out, almost none of them will ever tell you why, right? So who's doing the cover up, right? Epstein was messing around with somebody's daughter, right? Who were the ones who were afraid to say what disgusting stuff Epstein was doing? Those are the ones doing the cover-up, right? I'm not afraid to say that Epstein was messing around with somebody's daughter, and that's what led to him getting kicked out of the club. But they don't want to talk about that, right? What did they want to talk about? Clinton. That was what this was all about. It was always about one thing: a vector to attack Democrats. That was the whole point. It was not about the kids. It was not about the women. It was not about any of that. It was about, oh, we want to find out that Clinton was on the list so we could have a Democrat arrested and that's yeah, and to justify the whole Democrats appeal. That was the whole point, right? None of these people that are talking about this whole Epstein thing care about any of this stuff. It's all about views or something to attack Democrats, right? So these people are actually participating in the cover-up themselves. They don't even want to say why he got kicked out, and they want to mention that he got kicked out and ignore all the other suspicious evidence. Let me tell you one thing, that one of the most important things. If you are going along with this nonsense that, oh, Pam Bondi, and Pam Bondi lied and this and that, if you're going along with that BS, there's one thing that you need to know. There's one thing you need to pay attention to, right? If you believe that, right, then you believe also that Donald Trump is a bitch, and that's not TDS. I'm just going along with your logic. If you believe that Pam Bondi is the one, then you also believe that Donald Trump is a bitch. Why? Because Pam Bondi is pulling his strings, right? Pam Bondi, somehow, before she was even nominated, somehow she got into Donald Trump's ear and said, you better not release those files, right? So then when he was asked about, would you release those files? Many of you, if you're believing, or if you're attacking Pam Bondi, you're probably not even aware of this. You're aware of how, Kamala, they edited the video. You know about that, but you don't know about how when they asked Trump, even PBD Podcast admitted this. I was surprised, but he admitted this. He admitted that when they asked him about releasing the Epstein files, Donald Trump was on some, the other stuff, he's like, yeah, sure. Then they asked about Epstein. So if you believe, if you're focused on Pam Bondi, then Pam Bondi had Trump shook. And Donald Trump, as a billionaire, like the most powerful person in the country, for him to be shook by Pam fucking Bondi, what a bitch, right? But that's what you believed, and that's what you believe, right? So when he was hesitant, why do you think he was hesitant? Because he's like, oh no, I don't want to upset Pam Bondi. Pam Bondi said, you better not release those files, otherwise I'm coming for you. That's got to be the logic, right? But more important than that, if you are focusing on Pam Bondi, then that means you also need to recognize that when Donald Trump himself, people are asking him, what's up with the Epstein files, right? You claim that you care about the Epstein files, right? And you claim that Trump is, you elected him for justice and he's gonna get justice, right? And let's focus on the stuff I know you're focused on, right? Clinton, Bill Clinton. We know he's on the list, right? We know he's fucking on the list. Notice how left-wing people and liberals, they're not hiding from that. They're like, yes, we know Clinton's on that list, and we're okay with him getting locked up. But we also know Trump's on the list, and for some reason you have a problem with that. But let's focus. I want you to focus on the most important things. When Trump was asked in his meeting recently about what is up with this Epstein list, which you claim to care about, and you claim Trump is the hero and he's going to bring justice, what does he say? He's annoyed. Like, why are we still talking about this? Did you see that? So Pam Bondi, if you believe Pam Bondi, then Pam Bondi has Donald Trump so shook. Pam Bondi said, Trump, you need to drop this Epstein thing, right? I don't want to hear about this anymore. Like, she worked for Trump, but somehow she's running the show. If you think it's her, right? Why else would he say that? Right? If you believe Trump is the justice guy and he's clean and whatever, and he's going to go and get justice, then he wants to talk about this thing because he wants to get this list out. He wants to get people in jail, right? That has to be what you believe, right? So if he wants to get justice, and that's why you elected him, why else would he be like, oh, let's stop talking about this? Other than he's afraid of Pam Bondi. Pam Bondi said, listen, man, if you keep talking about this Epstein list, I'm gonna slap your wife in the face. I don't know what she could do to scare not only the president of the United States, the most powerful country in the world, right? So he's the most powerful man in the world. But somehow Pam Bondi is able to scare him. And not only that, he's probably the most powerful president we've ever had. He's a weak man, very, very weak man. But a lot of his power has always came from not how strong he is. It's always, like, for example, he's very wealthy, right? So his wealth is what is power. It's like imagine it's this billionaire guy who can't even crush a grape or whatever the expression is, can't kill a grape or whatever it is, right? But you got a lot of money, so you go around, you got a lot of mouth, right? Because you know you got bodyguards and you could hire some killer or whatever, right? So you're going around like you're some badass, like yeah, I'm punching the face, whatever. Meanwhile, you wouldn't hurt a mouse. You're a bitch, but you're rich, right? So nobody will mess with you because they know you got money. That's how Trump is, right? So now he's got the ultimate power because not only is he president of the United States, but he's the most powerful president. Again, not because of him being a powerful man, but because he has made his administration so much of a sycophantic thing where he's got nothing but yes men and women. Have you seen those meetings, those cabinet meetings in the past? And they're all one by one, like North Korea, like Donald Trump, you're the greatest guy, and under your leadership, and Trump, you know, you're a wonderful guy, and you know, only you could have done this. I mean, they're all freaking kissing his ass. So that is more power. Like Biden didn't have that. Biden didn't have that. You think Biden cabinet, Biden could just do whatever in his cabinet, be like, yeah. No, Biden had to fight, right? Biden had to fight to get his stuff done. He had Joe Manchin, you know, fucking around and doing his thing and whatever. Trump don't have that. He has ultimate power, and he also more powerful than Joe Biden because Joe Biden is like really in a state, you know, he's like he wants to preserve the institutions, right? So he doesn't go around just firing everybody. He literally keeps Trump appointees. He keeps Trump appointees in his government, right? So he's got people that are playing for the other team, and he lets them stay, he lets them breathe. Not Trump. Trump makes sure that it's only people that will do anything he says. Don't question him. They'll pretend, right? Like you see all the people talking about, oh, this bill and this and the budget and this. When they come around to it, they all vote yes, right? So that means Trump has ultimate power over CIA, FBI, DOJ. He got ultimate power. What the fuck could Pam Bondi do to scare Trump into, no, don't talk about the Epstein anymore. That's old news. Oh, I don't want to talk about it. Now, I'm going to come full circle. I'm going to come full circle with this, right? Let's be logical, right? Why the fuck would Pam Bondi want to cover up the Epstein files? It would benefit her to put them out. These are people who have been talking about it and they benefit from it, right? Bongino, right? He's been making all this content and people like him because they're like, he's a truth teller and he's like, whatever. And when they heard he's going to be in the government, they're like, yes. So his support and his love that he gets from his fans, right, comes from things like him being the one to expose the deep state and the Epstein files, right? So Bongino, Bondi, Kash Patel, all these people are highly incentivized to release these files. Just think logically for a second. Let's go into this parallel universe where any one of these people release the Epstein files. What do you think happens? Think about this for a second. Imagine in that universe, Pam Bondi comes out one day and she says, here guys, here's the Epstein list. Yo, Clinton, I told you Clinton was on there, right? What do you think happens immediately after that, right? She is going to be celebrated as the ultimate MAGA hero. You exposed the Epstein list, right? Pam Bondi exposed the Epstein list, and then now Bill Clinton immediately charges filed for Bill Clinton. And now, can you imagine how happy MAGA would be to find out that Bill Clinton is about to finally see justice and he's going to go to prison? Think about the love and adoration she would get. She has every reason to release the files, right? The only thing that would stop these partisan people who, it's not, I'm just like my assumptions or feelings, they've been trafficking in this, oh, Epstein, this, that, whatever, and getting rewarded. Like, yes, right? They've been doing it. Why stop now? The only thing that's changed is they have a new boss. And that boss's name is Donald J. Trump. when all these people didn't have Donald Trump, the guy who, well, I might release the files. I don't know. That stuff is bad. Oh, why are we still talking about this? The guy who was friends with Epstein, the guy who we know was on that plane, the guy who was literally on Epstein's jet just last year. This guy was on Epstein's jet not only, 7, 8 months ago. This guy, as soon as every time you introduce Donald Trump, somehow Epstein just gets further away from getting caught, right? It's Trump's guy that gave Epstein that sweetheart deal. Was it Acosta? That's Trump's guy that did that, right? Epstein killed himself under Trump, right? You get Trump in office, all of a sudden Epstein supposedly kills himself, right? Now, Donald Trump becomes the boss of these people who have been saying Epstein, 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 and all of a sudden, now these people, do you see the common pattern? Do you see the pattern? Every time you introduce Trump, you get further away from getting these people to justice, the whole Epstein list and everything. Trump is the common denominator. Introduce Trump, and you get further and further away. Everyone is, oh, stop Epstein, stop Epstein. Did Trump his manager? Oh, well, there's nothing to see. The files are empty. Come on, guys. Trump. It's Trump. He's the one. Everything is pointing to him. You remember lab leak? All the evidence, the lab was literally there where the outbreak, right? Everybody else was like, oh, natural origin. That's what the experts are saying, and that's what mainstream media is saying. But you and I saw the other evidence, right? We saw the track record of labs that had leaks, so we knew that's a pattern, right? We saw Fauci when he was suspiciously said something about, if we were doing it, it would be like all the weird stuff. We saw it. Now we have all this weird stuff. Why are you ignoring it? Why are you ignoring that everything is pointing at Trump, 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 Trump? Fuck Pam Bondi, Bongino, all these people. Trump is the boss. Even if Pam Bondi is the one who's doing the cover-up, he's the boss. Fire the bitch. Right? Why is he not angry? Where's that anger from Trump? This is unacceptable. I want these files out. We've been talking about this and nothing's getting done. Where's that? And by the way, for the first time we see, after all of this, for the first time, Trump finally says something kind of negative about Epstein. What does he say? He says, when he was annoyed, he's like, why are we still talking about this creep? I mean, could you get any softer than that? Creep, that's the best he could come up with. One of the biggest sex traffickers in the world. And he goes, this creep. For the first time. Think about that. It's shocking. For the guy who attacks everybody, it's shocking to hear him even say the guy was a creep. All evidence, all signs, all roads point to Donald J. motherfucking Trump. Leave Pam Bondi alone, especially because when he was appointing these people, we said these people are corrupt. And you supported it. You said, no, 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 right? You were talking about DEI and people didn't earn it. And now Trump appoints all these people who did not earn it. We're not qualified. We're corrupt. We're liars. We're frauds. One guy was a drunk. And you supported it. And now you want to come because Trump is trying to cover this up. Now you want to come and say, oh, Pam Bondi. What the fuck? What the fuck? From the time Trump got elected, what did I say? What did I say was going to happen? I said most of the people in this cabinet are going to have scandals. Almost every single one are going to have scandals. It's only going to get worse and worse and worse. And every single time, what did I say is going to happen? They're going to blame everybody else but Trump. Trump is the one who hired them. The first time around, they said, oh, he didn't have experience. This is his second term. Why is he still hiring losers and frauds? There's no excuse. Trump is the problem. You've been brainwashed. You've been scammed. You've been lied to. Trump is right now trying to cover up one of the biggest sex traffickers in the world. And right-wing media is helping to cover up the crimes of Epstein. That's what's happening right now. Even Breaking Point is getting involved in the cover-up by playing games about, oh, Pam Bondino. And they brought on this right-wing lunatic who just they talk all this about mainstream media, and they did the same thing like mainstream media. They had this right-wing lunatic come on and say this and say that and lie and manipulate, and Cigar and Ryan the tool just sat there nodding their heads. They must have asked 3 questions in a 19-minute interview. I might as well be watching an interview of Joe Biden on CNN, or an interview of name any Republican on Ben Shapiro's channel, right? You just get on the platform and just say whatever, lie, whatever, hardly any pushbacks, right? And then Cigar goes and does an interview with Tucker Carlson, and what's the title? Pam Bondi. So Cigar is also involved in the Epstein cover-up because he wants to hide the ball and talk about Pam Bondi to protect Donald Trump, who is covering up the Epstein files. You heard it here first. The raw truth. Do with that what you will. And I'm out. Sorry, Dan. I just saw you there, Danny. What's up with the purple crown symbol? Haven't noticed that before. Purple crown symbol. What is that? Purple crown symbol. I don't know what you're talking about, man. Kyle said what I already thought. Many MAGA supporters suspect Trump to be guilty, but they don't even care. They don't even have a problem with the rapist. Yeah, exactly. I said it already. First of all, number one, this was never about Epstein. It was never about the children, never about the girls. Or the women. It was always about just attacking Democrats. Because we don't even have conservative media in this country. We have anti-liberal media. That's the point. The point of so-called right-wing media is not to talk about conservatism or, conservative viewpoint. It's all about, look what the liberals did. Oh, liberals this, liberals that. The left. That's the point, right? So just like that, think about it. Why would right-wing media, why would that be their entire business model? Is just attacking liberals, right? Because it's profitable, because that's what their audience likes. So let's follow that logically. Their audience likes a lot of anti-liberal stuff. Okay, the Epstein list, we know definitely have Clinton on that list. Clinton being on the liberal side. So, you think maybe that's why they keep talking about this? Because this goes along with their brand, which is to attack liberals? So there was no concern about trafficking. They don't care about trafficking. And proof of that is, look at anyone that's been talking about or crying about, Epstein this, Epstein that, we got to stop this and these criminals, whatever. I want you to check their social media and see if they're posting about any other, sex trafficking. Were they talking about Matt Gaetz? If you don't want to say that Matt Gaetz did anything, well, do they even talk about Matt Gaetz' friend who was in prison literally for trafficking? Do they talk about the sex trafficking from the Tate brothers? Or were they celebrating the Tate brothers, right? If they're so worried about sex trafficking, there'd be so many right-wing videos. Because again, right-wing media is a reflection of their audience. They put out what their audience wants to see. So for some reason, the right-wing media doesn't think that their audience is very much interested in sex trafficking unless it's connected to liberals, right? So Tate doing sex trafficking, Tate brothers, he was just joking, and they're just going after him because of they want to play games, right? There's no interest there, right? If we had another major Catholic thing where the priests were molesting those boys, you think that would be a big story in right-wing media? No. Unless, of course, maybe, again, there's a liberal connection. If the priests are all in a super blue city or something like that, and some of the priests are like top Democrat donors, then yes, they'd all of a sudden be concerned. But if there is not a connection, they don't care. And the proof that they don't care about this stuff, again, you will not see them posting on their social media about any other sex trafficking. It all has to be connected to attacks on liberals. So that means Oh, the border, the women and the women trying to get the border and they're getting raped and whatever, right? That border that the liberals like open, right? Or it's, oh, Epstein, that list with Clinton, right? That's the whole point. These people do not care about children, family, God, country. It's a cult. And many of these people are some of the most savage people in this country. They do not care. These are, let me tell you again, right-wing media content is a reflection of the movement, right? They are going to be doing the types of things that they think that their audience likes to see. So what did we see a lot of videos of when the deportation started? A lot of them doing videos with like smiling and laughing and LOL, and like they'll show a picture of like a woman, not even, and this is just, again, these are critical details. Trump does the scam of talking about rapists and criminals, right? But if you want to see the truth about what the right-wing movement actually cares about, look at the content that right-wing media puts out. Right-wing media are in touch with what the American conservative movement, what they like, right? And they didn't do videos with gangsters and criminals and rapists on the thumbnails crying that they're getting deported. No. Who do they put in the thumbnails? Some, I don't know the lady, but probably nice lady, somebody's house cleaner or something like that. Maybe she's working on a farm or something like that. Just a regular person, right? Who's on the thumbnail crying, and then you see the right-winger smiling, and then they do a video, yes, the tears, send them home, yeah! Why would you, as a right-wing influencer, put out content mocking and making fun of regular, hardworking people who have committed no crimes, right? You can focus on, oh, they came in illegally, right? But let's be real, right? We're not talking about gangsters or the rapists that Trump always talks about. These are just regular people, right? Who are part of our communities. Why else would you put out videos laughing and mocking? Even if you're like pro, we got to shut down the border, right? If you are the most border hawk person, I think the border should be literally closed. And no one should come in, even if that's you. And even if you are so aggressive that you think that, yes, every single illegal immigrant should be removed from the country immediately. If you even think beyond that, that you think even legal immigrants should be removed, even if you are on that level, right, you still should not enjoy the pain and suffering of these people, not the criminals or whatever, of just a regular immigrant being removed from the country, and they're crying. You know, they're coming from all kinds of different situations, whether it's violence or, you know, just extreme situations that made them risk their lives to come here. The only reason that you would put a video out mocking them is if you think that your right-wing audience consists of a bunch of savages who are heartless, who are not concerned about border security and they're taking our jobs, right? Because that's not border security and taking a job. What part of border security and taking our jobs is laughing at a woman who didn't do any crimes, who's not like a drug dealer or whatever, some lady who's a house cleaner getting deported? What part of securing the borders is mocking and making fun of this person? That is something completely different. And it is something that right-wing media influencers believe that the American right-wing movement, their audience, likes to see. Right? So I think that's what's the most important thing, right? Trump could talk about, oh, this and the border security and this and that, and they're pouring into the country. And he could say all that shit. But when you say right-wing media not focusing on criminals and gangs and all that kind of stuff, but instead just focusing on the cruelty of just deporting people who have done nothing wrong other than crossing into the border illegally, or their visa expired, or whatever it is, right? When you are mocking and making fun of that, you are revealing the truth about what you're really all about. That's not about securing the borders, right? Again, the biggest border hawk would look at content laughing at people being kicked out like that, and they would be disgusted. And you would see a large movement of people in the right calling this out and saying this is disgusting. Right-wing media is disgusting, mocking. Yes, we want the border secure, but this laughing, you're making us look bad, da da da. But I don't hear a peep. All these right-wing influencers are being so cruel and savage and inhumane and proving that it's never about the jobs and security. It's never about that, right? They're showing this, and the only people complaining are those evil liberals, right? It's only the liberals who are sitting there and saying this is disgusting. Where is the large movement of conservatives who are like, what the fuck are you people doing, laughing at people getting deported? We want them out of the country, but none of this is funny, right? Anyway, on that note, I gotta get going. This is the Bet Me channel. The Bet Me comments. Subscribe that bell. Be well. There's a purple crown symbol next to my name in the chat. I'm totally sober and not an asshole. Oh man, maybe you notice it later. I just see the wrench. Who knows what YouTube is doing, man? YouTube be on some. YouTube be on some. I don't know what. I guess a perfect way to end this video is that you know, for a second when you said the crown, this is what I was thinking. I was like, where did he see this logo somewhere? Where did he see? Did you see, like, when I was at the place? Did you see it? Or did you see my cup somehow? So I think the perfect way to end this video is I think I made some pretty strong points. I think I brought up enough stuff that is, you know, a good faith conservative would, if they hadn't thought about this stuff before, they'd be like, this actually, it's not a good look. And it seems a little fishy. And you'd be wondering, at least wondering, think about it, like how liberals are fast to just be like, yeah, Clinton sucks. And, you know, he was on Epstein Island. I mean, you gotta think about Monica Lewinsky, right? But in contrast, look at how difficult it is with all the mounting evidence, all the suspicious behavior. There's this, and this is why when people say it's a cult, right? This is cult behavior, right? Why is it that one side is okay with, like, somebody on their side, oh, you run the list, and send them to prison, we're fine with it, while the other side, it's like evidence after evidence. Like, we didn't get a whole bunch of stuff with Clinton. Like, we saw there was some evidence in the past or whatever, and I think that was kind of it. Like, we saw some evidence, and it was like clear that he was doing some stuff he shouldn't have been doing, and we're like, okay, screw this guy. But with Trump, it's mounting. Like, I don't think there's evidence that Clinton was, like, good friends with Epstein for 10 years like Trump was. I don't see evidence of Clinton getting, well, that's interesting. I guess he's smart enough not to get involved, but the reality is, Clinton is not the guy who has been acting weird talking about Epstein, even though we know he was involved, right? Clinton, I guess, just keeps his mouth shut, right? But it's Trump is the one who keeps acting very weird. He's in power. All of a sudden, Epstein supposedly kills himself, right? Before he's in power, he's like, yeah, we should release the files. And then he's hesitant about saying releasing the files. Now he gets in power. All of a sudden, under his leadership, the people that he appoints that were like, yeah, Epstein list, all of a sudden, they're like, nothing to see here. We don't have that amount of mounting evidence on the Clintons. But yet we are ready, and we already abandoned Clinton, that this guy is sick and disgusting and should be in prison, right? Way more evidence on the Trump side, but yet people who like Trump, Pam Bondi, look what Pam Bondi's, she's lying, and I don't know. But here's the best part. I don't see this happening, but let's just say things get to a point where it's just it just becomes really impossible to continue to play games, right? In terms of evidence, like black and white evidence that Trump was on the list and Trump was doing some disgusting things. If we get to that point, I'm sad to say this, but if you think that's going to be a point where MAGA is going to be like, wow, Trump is disgusting and now they're going to be going after him, no. It's going to be January 6th all over again. You're going to have an unusually large amount of right-wingers that are going to be like, yeah, that's disgusting or whatever. But ultimately, they're all going to fall in line. They're all going to be like, listen, that happened a very long time ago, right? We've all made mistakes, right? Nobody's perfect, right? He's a different man now. And, you know, the Bible says we should forgive, you know, Jesus forgives everyone. Right? That's the thing. It's so like annoying. So I just want you to understand, my goal of making this video is just to tell the raw truth, which is what I always do. I'm not trying to convince MAGA or like I'm not Cenk, right? I know there's no convincing them, right? So this video is just me telling it like it is. But the reality is, even if it gets to the point where they're like, okay, yeah, Trump did it, they're not going to care, man. They're going to very, very easily be okay with someone who might have assaulted children, who might have assaulted women, who might have done some disgusting things and who lied to them. They're perfectly comfortable having this guy in office. It'll be so easy to justify. It's like, well, we don't want socialism, and, you know, Trump, he's doing a lot of stuff that I like, and it's really about the policy. Like whatever he did with some girls back in the day, I mean, I certainly don't stand for that. But right now, in this moment, what matters is securing the borders and da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. So the stupid-ass liberals who think there's going to come a point where there's enough evidence that you're going to get MAGA to be like, oh, man, wow. It's not going to happen, man, right? The goalposts will be moved. For now, it's like, no, it's not Trump. No, hey, Trump will never do that. You don't have any evidence. Where's the evidence? Do you have evidence to back it up? Then when it's kind of like, okay, he did it. Well, okay, so what? The other part of the explanation is going to be, what about Joe Biden? You think Joe Biden hasn't done anything? Like, you didn't have a problem when Joe Biden was president. And we know he definitely did some stuff with girls. Did you see him sniffing the girls here? Right? So when Joe Biden, who's obviously he's a sicko pervert, when he was in office, you guys were fine with it. And now you want to act like something is wrong with us because we are focused on the policies and things that matter and securing the borders and da-da-da-da and the economy and da-da-da. A video that is not in dispute of Donald Trump assaulting a 12-year-old girl. A video that is not in dispute by anyone, including MAGA, of Donald Trump assaulting a 12-year-old girl. I'm going to say it one last time. A video of Donald Trump assaulting a 12-year-old girl that's not in dispute by anyone, including MAGA. If such a video would come out, and if you're a boomer, you say videotape, as if anybody uses tape in 2025. If a videotape, a Maxwell, a TDK tape of Trump assaulting a girl comes out, MAGA will not give a fuck. That'll be a very bad look, so they'll have to pretend to care for a very short time. Donald Trump will help them by shiny objects and give them something else to focus on. And then they will be sounding just like Trump. You saw Trump was like, are we still talking about this? That'll be them, right? A few months from now, after this video comes out, it's like, you're still talking about that? That's from June. The year is almost over, and we already said we don't stand for it, and we condemn Trump, and you still want to talk about that because you can't defend your policies on what your side is doing. So you just want to keep talking about, oh, Epstein, whatever. Where when our side did something wrong, we had the integrity to call it out, and we said it was wrong. When are you going to call out Joe Biden for what he did with those little girls? Tell me where I lied. Tell me where I lied. All right, guys. I'm out.